talking with me.
Make sure everything's right. That was hilarious.
What is up, guys?
Internet has different laws.
As always, this is Expat fonts. Back again. We are Americans in Germany and
Deutschland.
Yeah.
Not Germany.
Once again, we are back for a new video. Today is things the U.S. can learn from
Germany,
or Kyle's
EU.
case, EU, because
they're
we're gonna
part
fight
of the
about it on
EU.
camera because he just
And
wants to
then
go off.
I noticed it in my country, and we're just gonna over-talk each other. But I noticed it in my previous country,
yes.
And I know he noticed it in his previous country. Some of these things as well. So I would say it's a EU thing. Just
Germany,
like,
EU thing.
yeah. That sounds about right.
Sure.
First thing, number one.
I know we keep going to it. What?
Number one, recycling. We've said it before, and we'll say it again. People recycle here. They pay attention to it.
Do it right.
Do it right. Yeah, they pay attention to it.
It's just like the buyback program you guys have here. I mean,
that's the killer.
The only thing I don't like is the added taxes onto the item when you buy it. That's the only thing I really don't like. But I think for Americans, if there's an incentive to do that, yes.
Yeah. If you're gonna get, 8, 15, 25 cents for a can.
Yeah, it's
an aluminum can. You're gonna get 25 cents back.
Yeah,
do it. Or a 2-liter bottle. You'll get people collecting those things and then tossing them back, and they won't end up in landfills. They'll end up being recycled. So
the thing with Americans, like you can't do it by force. It's almost like it has to be some sort of incentive.
Americans have to get something out of it.
Yes, I know we're messed up.
Why would you do it? And the thing in the States, though, they'll also sit there and you're paying for usually like a recycling service.
Yes.
In some neighborhoods and stuff, at least where I'm from, that you have to pay for recycling.
Suburbs.
It's not you get paid to recycle, which is different, and it's something that I think that the U.S. should definitely take.
This is number 2, and I know this kind of Kyle's.
Yeah.
I think Kyle's fascinated by this, but
I love the windows.
The windows, especially the ones in the rooms where you just turn the handle. For me personally, I love it where like when you turn it all the way up, and the window from the top end comes out, like
folds towards you. The top comes down a little bit towards you. Allows just enough airflow.
See, that's perfect. You just enough. You're fine.
But your window's open, so if it rains, you're not getting wet inside the house or anything like that. But at the same time, you can also turn them sideways and turn the handle sideways, and then they'll just open up, and it'll be this huge window, tons of air.
I just wish they opened up from the bottom a little bit. That'd be nice. That'd be nice. 3.
Number 3, utilizing, I would say, the public transportation system.
Yeah.
I feel like, at least in America, most places in America, outside, I would say, of like major cities, Chicago, Atlanta, any real downtown area, a little bit more. Don't do a cricket thing on that.
Oh, he's got me.
So,
boy, he's got my editing style. Oh, fuck. Want to change it a little bit.
Everybody in the States, I feel like, once you, and the people that do have a car, the ones that can afford it, because gas is also really expensive over here. You're talking about paying, $1.40 a liter. Like that's ridiculous.
A lot.
Yeah. So you end up.
Just like Kyle said, the major cities, obviously, it's all just transportation. They're looking for any possible way to, to get from A to B in different ways, whether it's a bus, subway, you name it. But I know in my case, living in Ohio, I know for years and years, it's not just the bus, but for years they keep talking about high-speed rail between some of the major cities, Cincinnati, Columbus, Cleveland, and take that from Columbus all the way to Chicago and just be able to do that.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, you get to Chicago in like, an hour and a half or something like that.
From Columbus?
From Columbus.
Wow.
It's dope. We've been talking that for like, 10, 20 years.
Yeah.
But I think it's slowly becoming a thing in the U.S. at least for growing, like major growing cities now. But I just feel like Germany's way more efficient with it. I mean, they know how to how to break everything up properly, and then I don't know.
But I feel like that also has to do with how they, they built towns over here. Due to the fact that everybody lives in the city. And
it's weird because like Germany is so well connected, whether it's just road, rail. Anything. It's just planes.
Yeah, I would say Europe's pretty well connected. Because the thing is, flights are cheap, rail is cheap.
Full, and I'm about to start a war with this one.
This is good.
I'm about to start a war, and I'm pretty sure whenever I go back to the States, I'm gonna get a crap ton of flack from everybody else. That is beer. I don't care what you say, Americans. Beer, y'all gotta learn. And this is 2 videos I had to do this on. Y'all gotta learn on how to make beer. I'm calling you out too, Budweiser, for love of God. You keep buying up my favorite brands back home and you make them just terrible. But Germans have the purity laws and everything else out here, and it's just, and not only that, but I think it's.
Oh yeah, it's in their heritage.
Yeah, they just.
They brew beer.
Man, they just.
What they do. German beer.
That's just. That's something that's been not just bred for a couple generations. That is like centuries. They've gotten it right.
Yeah, it's different here. It's good.
Yeah.
And the stuff in the States doesn't compare.
No. That even right now, even in the U.S., the big thing that's going on is the craft beer kind of revolution, if you want to call it that. Yeah. There is just so many of those popping up everywhere. I know in Ohio
craft
there's
beer festivals and stuff like that. Yeah.
It's nuts. At least in Ohio, they say that a lot of them are craft beer sales have declined because there's so many options right now in the market. So the consumers
people don't know what to buy.
Yeah. Oh, like if I went back home, you can either go to Kroger or go to Giant Eagle. I mean, there's just a huge freaking wall of it, and people are like, "Hey, I don't know what to get."
Yeah. So many options. I'm overwhelmed.
But at the end of the day, I've tried a lot of those beers, and then obviously coming over to Germany, I'll try like the basic, most popular beer out there, and even then, it's way better after that.
Number 5.
Number 5.
Over here, I would say, due to the fact that Europe's older, like there's been civilizations that have been here, a lot longer than the States was ever even around. You have some of the older buildings from way back, from 1,000 years ago, around. Maybe not necessarily in Paderborn because a lot of it was destroyed. But in other, countries in Europe, you end up with a lot of the old history, just in the middle of just randomly, you just turn down the street and then boom, like old wall or old part of a castle or a castle or, I feel like in the States, like if you get like an old classic McDonald's in a town, and it's been the classic McDonald's, like your parents, your grandparents all went to that McDonald's and looked the same, but it comes under new management. Instead of just like renovating it to make it look the same as it did before, but just newer stuff, if wherever it needed it, they just completely tear it down and then just make it a new look, and that doesn't make just like everything else, and it's just like try to keep some of the history, don't try to just change the appearance.
I just love that analogy. He took history with McDonald's.
Yeah, I just like, come on, guys, so they can freaking learn.
Don't turn out McDonald's.
Don't forget your history.
My papa ate there.
Don't forget your history.
This is one that really kind of bugs me about the U.S. more than anything else. It's I've noticed it. I think now, at least the last 2 or 3 years, they've kind of slowly, I think they're coming to terms like, hey, let's not do that. Let's just kind of take the existing building and make the best of it. I think they're starting to realize that. But I grew up over in Kansas City where I think about early 2000s, they started tearing down all these old buildings. There was kind of a fight to take down one of the old presidential hotel where I think Harry Truman used to stay. Same thing. They were thinking about tearing that down or almost completely gutting it. And so a lot of people were like, don't do that. Keep it the same. There's history here. Just leave it. So I think eventually a lot of parts of Kansas City now, they build everything within the old exteriors, and it looks a lot better now. But that's starting to come across now in the U.S. Like, hey, let's not be so quick to do it. And so things are, because for me personally, I'm a history buff. I love any old
Same.
buildings from the 1800s. You know, that's far you're gonna get with us, the 1800s.
Favorite cities are Savannah, St. Augustine,
Oh yeah,
Nassau.
old
Yeah.
places. Man, that's like 1300 type stuff.
Yeah, but still,
Yeah, it's-
Paderborn's older than that.
Yeah, probably a 1,000 years.
You know what I'm
Like,
saying?
jeez.
Like, so it's just, you know, it's crazy. I would like to see not everything trying to be new, you know, and look new or renovated. More like just keep everything nice, you know. Or if you're gonna renovate it, make it look the same as it did before, you know, on
Exactly.
certain buildings and stuff like that, versus just tear it down and put a new building.
Yeah. For me, like one of my favorite places to go to is, and it's kind of been this way for years and years, is Boston. I love Boston. If you can go down certain streets, and you could tell like they were like revolutionary, like war roads, because they're very narrow, and obviously they have like the brick streets and everything.
This is in Boston.
Yeah, the Boston, and you could tell like those old like townhouses, the ones that just step. Like you take one step out, you go right down to the sidewalk.
Has a stoop.
The stoop,
Yeah.
yeah. Those streets, stuff like that, I freaking love. And so
You
you
need
can kind
to go to
of.
Savannah.
Oh, I'm sure Savannah's the same way. 'Cause
Savannah's awesome.
Was it a port
Savannah's
town?
an old port town.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
You get that a lot in the U.S. Old port towns, they look just like that. Those narrow
St.
streets.
Augustine, Savannah, so much history. New Orleans,
New Orleans, yeah.
yeah, so much history.
Those are the 5 things that the U.S.
can learn from Germany /
Germany.
the EU.
/ EU.
Or did I do that backwards?
It's like, wow. Somebody's gonna be at home like, Kyle, you did that backwards.
You did that backwards. You know it was backwards. I'm like, yeah, I know. That's why I did it both ways.
No, screw it. As always, Kyle's socials will be at the bottom or on screen because I just got yelled at for it.
Yeah, it's. This may be my last video. We'll find out as soon as this video comes out.
He caught up on my videos and he's angry at me.
I am very angry.
As you can tell. Yeah. Like him. Like that guy.